All right. Good afternoon. Welcome back here to Trader Mini. Great to have you aboard. Um, let's go take a look here at Halliburton. Not going to hop out right here. Halliburton in the last about 30 minutes has made a strong move lower. And kind of done, kind of worst case scenario for Hal. As far as the setup on Hal, we had everything that we wanted yesterday. As far as a gap up, holding above 7, holding 50, gapped up a little bit this morning. Basically everything we want to see. Has drifted lower today on low volumes and has exaggerated in the last little bit. Let me kind of bring it up here for you and show you the minute chart. Okay, you can kind of see this little. Not little, but the kind of the exaggeration to the downside from 49.60. Once it decided it wanted to break 49.60, made a flush down. Now, normally with Halliburton, we'll see some big volumes come in at some of the peaks and valleys on a day-to-day chart. We're not seeing that here with Halliburton. That does make me nervous. Couple ways we can look at Halliburton. Okay, number one, daily chart. Big old bearish engulfing in a stock that's downward trending, showed signs of wanting to bounce, gives a bearish engulfing, unlike anything that it's done this year on these bounces. Okay, enough's enough. We got to move out and be done with it. We take our loss, lick our wound, and we go make it back somewhere else. So that's kind of the way that I'm looking at Hal here. If we close at this area, now as far as do we exit right here, my my whole thing here is I'm not going to get out right here. I'm not going to argue, people, if you want to get out right here. I'm not going to argue it. But at the same time, we're coming back now down to we broke down the minor support. We're coming back down towards the major support. I'm glad we're coming down towards it, with 2 hours left in the market, as, we do have some snapback, we do have some snapback potential. Having traded Halliburton many times, and some of you guys know, it'll move 50 cents, it'll move 60 cents one way or the other very quickly. Do I think it's going to have a strong snapback? No. Could it have 20 to 30 cents snapback into the close? Sure, but it also could go down another 20, 30 cents. We only have a kind of a little bit of support here. Now, we do have the big volumes on the support here, so you can make some hourly arguments in regards to support here for Halliburton. But when you put that in the context of the daily chart, it's going to be a difficult one to hold on to here after today. So we'll have to lick our wounds and move on here with it. Like I mentioned to this morning, we set up Halliburton and EMC so that, hey, even if we got worst case scenario, it wasn't going to knock us out or kill us in regards to the challenge. Is it a setback? Sure, but that just means that we have a little more work to do. Yeah, AK, I agree. If it holds 49, you still like it, and I do too. I have to admit, fundamentally, Halliburton is really nice here. It's gotten significantly cheaper here. We can make a lot of bullish arguments. My concern with Halliburton is simply this. My concern with Halliburton is that it comes to 48 before going back. I'm not concerned with it going to 52. I'm pretty comfortable it goes to 52. Do we go to 48 first? And the action here today is kind of indicating that. Now, EMC is a completely different story than Halliburton. Okay, EMC, we have to keep in mind. We talked about it earlier. EMC, there's nothing here. This isn't really a gravestone type doji. We never really had trading action up here, as it shows its high 23.90. We never really had trading action up there. Really 23.70, 23.74 was the highest the actual trading action got on EMC. EMC's bled lower with the market after kind of the bear trap set up yesterday. The support level for EMC is right down here at 2340, 2350. This is where where we talked about yesterday. This is kind of where if EMC is truly a bear trap and EMC is ready to move higher, this is where it needs to find support. So it's kind of right at that area. The bounce up coming down to support, and this is where we would expect it to take its move higher here. If it's not able to hold on to support here, trouble, and we need to be out overall. Okay. So look, EMC probably not going to make any change on into the close. Halliburton, we may be forced to. I've seen crazier things out of Halliburton, but overall we may be forced to, and simply we're not dealing. One of the things with Halliburton and the options that we set up on them. We set them up so there was a decent delta that would build as the stock went up, but it's also one where there's enough time and there's enough of a delta in there or a delta contraction in there to where it starts to be down 60 to 80 to $1, that the contraction in option value is much less, and so the risk of loss, guess what? We're down like 500 something on the initial dollar move down. But if it were to go down another $1, we'd be looking at another $250 loss. And so, from a dollar standpoint, and this is the beauty of options, from a dollar standpoint, if a stop is missed, okay, and this stop is missed, our stop price is missed simply because we tend to judge them relative to their stop price into the close, okay? So this 49.70, 49.80 area broke. We're coming down to the next support area. Our risk is going down to 48. Well, I have to look at it and say, well, what's our max loss if we get down to 48? Well, it's another $200 to $300 on top of what we have now. Is it worth knowing, hey, it could come down to 48, but knowing that, hey, we still have that strong bounce potential to say, do we hold it? And really, that's the question I'll kind of have to ask myself into the close. And I'll be kind of reviewing with Carl and John and saying, Halliburton, granted, is breaking down. We have another dollar risk here on it. The delta has shrunk considerably. We will have a very nice gain on any type of move higher. Is it worth keeping our money in here, especially in the light of the lower volume, in light of the fact that these bearish engulfings in 2013 for many stocks have just seen bounces higher, and so if we do decide that we will hold it, we're going to probably hold it down to 48 and say, you know what, we're kind of maybe even all or nothing in here. But that's kind of what we would be looking at if we made that decision. The nice thing about the challenge is we're afforded to be able to make that decision. Our risk is managed with the amount of money in the challenge. If we're dealing this from a fund manager standpoint, a stock standpoint, it becomes a very different beast at this point. So again, still 2 hours to go. We can see this go higher, go lower. Bottom line, the delta on it has shrunk considerably. I will show that on video. Well, here, let me show it right now here as I'm looking over at my email and seeing 2 emails about that. Let me read those real quick. The delta and okay. So basically what I'm doing, I'm just coming into an options calculator here at cboe.com, and tools down to option calculator, and I'm just going to come in and put my ticker symbol in, HAL, and click on go. This is going to give us theoretical prices. All right. The strike price, we have the January 10s, and we have to update it with today, the current price of Halliburton, which is $49.12. Okay, 49.12. And so we have 24 days till expiration. We have our strike. We click on calculate here, and it gives us our option value. Okay, gives us our option value, which is about where it is right now at about $1. Okay. Obviously, time decay will play into this. If we go another 4 days, we're looking at about a 10-cent drop in the option. Okay, for 4 days of holding. So that's kind of the holding cost in regards to that. Let me kind of bring this back to break even. But notice this delta here. This delta tells us how much we would expect the option value to move per dollar change in the stock price. Okay, so 41 cents. But it's not true. It's not that, hey, if the stock goes down another dollar, our option's going to go down 41 cents, or if the stock goes up $1, our option's going to go up a pure 41 cents. We have to take into account the rate of change of the delta, which is referred to as gamma. Very simply, okay, if we want to know how much we're going to make if the stock goes up $1 from this point, we add the delta and the gamma. So we go and we get 41 plus 11, we get 52 cents. Okay, so basically what we've lost today, we would get back if the stock went up $1. Makes sense, stock's down $1 today. Okay. But if we go down another dollar, how much do we lose? Well, to get that number, we have to take the delta and subtract the gamma. So 41 minus 11. Okay, because that delta is going to shrink as the stock continues to go down. So we're looking at about 30 cents. So if we look and we're talking about the stock going down another dollar, we're looking at about a 30-cent loss on the options. Okay, 30-cent loss on the options, about $300 there, which is about the estimation, the 250 estimation we talked about, to risk that next dollar. So $1 higher pays us off much more than $1 lower cost us. That's the nice thing about options. Now, granted, is it worth being dead money? Is it worth, holding on for a snapback and maybe just getting back to even? Or is this something that if we hold on, we strongly expect to make to the 52, 50, potentially 53 level? And that's kind of where we kind of have to evaluate that trade and ask ourselves as we go into the close. I'll just tell you my initial gut feel here. My initial gut feel is to hold on to Halliburton. It's absolutely to hold on to Halliburton, and it's one of those kind of gut feels. If it works, then great. If not, there's a lot of criticism that can be had with it. That's my gut feel. It's not my decision yet. As we will make that decision into the close, but that's kind of my gut feel as we as it plays out right now. Okay. So that's the delta, or the option changes, and kind of the risk associated with that. And really when we're dealing with the challenge at 3,000 or at 2,000 or at 2,500 or even at 4,000, and we've kind of been dancing around here for a month between 1,800 and 4,000. We've kind of been dancing in this area. And anytime I have different trades on the board, or we have trades on the board, Carl and I look at it and we're like, all right, worst case scenario, are we risking kind of a huge blow to the challenge where we're not able to get back? And, with Halliburton and holding it, we wouldn't be, taking on that type of risk. And, so that's a nice thing about the trade. Now, if we get an overreaction, then yeah, obviously there's a little bit more risk involved there. But that's kind of how we're going after it from a mental standpoint there. Okay. Sorry, just going through my email here real quick. Okay, yeah. 52 and a half. Theoretically, this is what the option would be worth. let's just say it takes a week to get there. Um, we're looking at an option that's worth about 284. Okay. So depending on time decay, depending on volatility, somewhere between 270 and 290, somewhere in that area at 52 and a half. Okay. We get down to 48 a week from now. Okay, we're looking at an option that's worth about 41 cents. Okay, in a week from now. So time decay will have an effect, and most of that will come in over the weekend. So obviously we'll have to have a clear decision as far as understanding the cost of holding it over the weekend there. Alrighty, so that's Halliburton there. Again, we'll make a decision. I'll talk about it more as we head into the close here. Okay, Tesla. Okay, Tesla, beautiful move here today, above 150. Strong move, momentum move, continues to be strong. Tesla, we talked 165, 170, even 180. Not out of the realm of possibilities. Got a nice friendly email here today, basically blasting me for getting out of Tesla and getting into Halliburton. And in regards to that, yeah, Tesla's still moving up and Halliburton's going down. But at the same time, just from a pure trading standpoint, okay, if we have a momentum stock, let's take something like Solar City, take something like Tesla, something like Netflix, something that's trading at crazy valuations. Where the valuations just don't make a whole lot of sense. It's a growth stock, not a value stock. Okay, and we have a growth stock that has a mediocre signal or a decent bullish signal like Tesla. Okay, and I have a choice between Tesla or a well established company like Halliburton, something that I've traded much more, something whose valuations make a lot more sense, and I actually have a better signal on Halliburton than Tesla. I'm going to rotate my money and I'm going to go from Tesla to Halliburton every single time. And sometimes it'll work and sometimes it won't. Okay, but I will make that decision every single time. Yeah, Chipotle. Chipotle Mexican Grill here is one that has tried to get some bullish legs. We saw some volume come in it yesterday. Didn't quite get above 520. It's one that, man, if we could start to trade above 520 for a day or two, would be a fantastic entry to trade this up into the 550 area. But as long as it's still trading below 520, we don't really have an entry here that is set up in a good way. The potential of some sort of exhaustion happening to the downside is still there. And CMG, Apple's kind of the same way. There's nothing bearish here on Apple, but it's just not triggered that it's ready to go to the upside. And CMG is kind of in that same ballpark. Some of you were talking about Microsoft this morning. Microsoft's kind of the same way here. When it comes to early, yeah. Could we argue it's down around support? Could it potentially start to bounce? Yeah, but it's still early there. Okay. Yeah, VIX, does valuation matter when we're talking about trades for 10 days holding period? Absolutely. And valuation doesn't matter in the traditional sense as far as, hey, I'm getting into this trade because of valuation. If we're getting into a trade because of valuation, we're completely missing the mark. Okay, absolutely missing the mark. Valuation, PE levels, growth, all of that is a long-term thing. Okay, but when we have two stocks with very similar signals, let's just say the signals are equal. Okay, let's just say we have a bull signal on a stock with really good valuation and a bull signal on a stock with really bad valuation. I'm going to go with the bull signal on the stock with really good valuation. Okay, so it's not going to trump the technicals. I don't care what the valuation looks like here on Halliburton. I'm not entering it unless it gives me that bull signal that it gave me yesterday. Okay, I'm not going to enter it unless it gives me that signal there. Vix, I'm responding to your question. It looks like you say you've lost audio video. Let me see. Are you back? Looks like it's still running on my test screen, so I'm assuming others of you out there are fine with the audio video. Let me know. For 10 seconds, lost it. Okay, audio video good. All right, let me go back and repeat that as far as valuation. Okay. All right, for about 10 seconds there. Alrighty. Um, okay, so valuation overall. Okay, and Vix, you make a great point. Is valuation matter when we're talking about holding a trade for 10 days or so? Not at all. Okay, valuation is not the determining factor. But if I have a bull signal on one stock and a bull signal on another, okay, I'm going to hold on. I'm going to buy or want to be in the stock that has the better valuation overall. Okay, so while valuation isn't going to trump any of the technicals, okay, I'm going to buy and want to be in the stock that has the bullish setup with the better valuation. Okay, so when it comes to that Halliburton Tesla here, right? I mean, Tesla, we even talked about it. Tesla was still bullish yesterday. We talked about that. I know some of you are still in it, but at the same time, we had a nice bullish signal here from Halliburton. Halliburton, from just a valuation standpoint, makes a whole lot more sense. Okay, doesn't mean Tesla can't go up more, but Halliburton, we're dealing with growth next year of 35%, forward PE of 11. Tesla, we are dealing with, a forward PE up here in the almost 100. Granted, we do have some growth to potentially offset that, but Halliburton has more of a traditional valuation. I'm going to be much more comfortable being in this bullish signal than being in Tesla's bullish signal. Okay. So that's kind of where valuations would actually come into play. All right. Okay. Yeah, Jay. Hey guys, we've been pulling off Hal. We see it's beyond our stop. Yeah. In Halliburton, we talked about Halliburton. We're going to evaluate it into the close. It broke down our stop. So yes, get out. The one thing though, the way it broke down, it flushed all the way down to the next support level here. And so kind of evaluating it from here, we took a look at some of the deltas and where those were. With the challenge, we don't have to be at stop stringent, but we definitely, Halliburton has more movement to come today, right? Don't, please, for a minute, don't think Halliburton isn't going to move either more to the upside or more to the downside. It's absolutely going to move some more, and we'll evaluate that into the close here as we get closer, and same with EMC here. Okay. Delta. Delta Airlines, Trend Rider Bear signal here. This one is very similar to some of the Trend Rider Bear signals like in Kihu yesterday, right? Trend Rider Bear signal, but on an upward trending stock that's been consolidating. Do you want to trust it? So far this year, these types of Trend Rider Bear signals haven't been very accurate, but we have seen some of them start to come into play and perform better, like in some of the consumer staples areas, where at least they're not snapping back in a bullish format rapidly here. Okay. Sapient. Sapient Core here. This is a beautiful setup. You basically you have the technical breakout that happened a week and a half ago. You get a low volume pullback. Now you start to ride back up with the 7-day moving average. Yeah, you don't have a lot of volume, but you're talking about a low volume stock in general. But from just a pure technical standpoint with Sapient, it's in a very bullish mode. That said, The volumes are such that I don't know how much I would trust all the technicals. I'd want to make sure that I'm comfortable with some of the fundamentals in regards to Sapient overall. And I'm not tremendously familiar with the insides of how Sapient trades, but just on a pure technical basis, it's in a very bullish mode with about a 17 to 17.50 dollar price target there. Okay. Wick, just saw your text there, your chat there. Your Facebook straddle's in the green there. Yeah, the straddles we put on earlier today. Obviously I did market orders, so you're going to see an initial loss, but you'll see most they're all flat. I mean, they are all flat here. None of them are going to have any sort of movement anytime real soon here. All right. So anyway, with Halliburton and EMC, that's kind of how we'll go with those here. We'll talk about them a little bit more into the close here today, but for now, hold it on, and we'll see where they take us. Thanks for hopping on. We'll talk to you soon. Take care.